YouTube, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are here at this lovely 2-bedroom, brand newly built home in the centre of Worthing, which is just on the south coast near the sea, it's a lovely road, lovely location. And I'm here today with Harley, who is the owner, the developer, and he's kindly going to walk us through, and then we're going to quickly chat about what he's built here and the costs and everything. So Harley, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks for coming.
Good. Nice house.
Yeah.
You really pleased with it?
Yeah, really pleased with it. Yeah, like I say, it's only just finished about a week ago, so there's still a few finishing touches, but it's getting there.
No, it honestly looks incredible, and you're saying it's taken about eight months overall?
Yeah, about 8 months. It was meant to take 6 months, but it never takes. It always takes a bit longer than you think. And but yeah, we started in February, so it's about 8 months, which isn't too bad, I suppose, to go from literally it was a garage and like some outbuildings, and now it's a new house. So. So when we got planning for it, we thought it was going to be more like a cottage, but it's ended up, because of the height, it's ended up feeling more spacious and more airy than we thought. And basically down on the ground floor, I just wanted to keep it as open plan as possible. I didn't want to cut into it with like a lobby or anything like that. Yeah, basically got a big open plan living space, a little courtyard garden, which I suppose isn't bad for when you're in the centre of town.
So yeah, the plan is to Airbnb, or holiday let it.
Yeah.
And again, this whole kind of open plan feel is perfect for that. I guess if you get a couple of couples coming along, or if you get a family, I guess, is that the idea?
Yeah, that's the idea. I mean, usually with these, we sort of have a sofa bed, and then we've got the 2 bedrooms upstairs, so it would sleep up to 6 people.
Brilliant.
And obviously, I'm not sure how well it's going to work in Worthing, because it's not Brighton, obviously, but it is 1 block back from the seafront and quite central and everything. So.
Yeah, I think the location's great.
Yeah, so I'll show you the kitchen quickly.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Yeah, the kitchen costs $4,000, and it's basically like just a laminate worktop, but like a compacted version. So it's a bit more, looks a bit more like granite. Yeah,
no, it's a really great finish.
Yeah.
Speaking of this, I've just done a buy-to-let, and I spend a lot of time looking at kitchens, and I don't think mine's come out anywhere near as last as it is, so a bit jealous. But it's from Howdens, is it?
It is all from Howdens, yeah. I kind of tried to keep it as simple as possible rather than chopping and changing and getting lots of bits from different places.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just gone. We go for this sort of like these handleless doors quite often because it just looks quite clean and modern. And we put down Karndean flooring, which is basically like laid down in tiles, and it's just really hard wearing. And it kind of looks almost like real wood or engineered wood, but it's really bulletproof. So it looks good for a long period of time.
It's a really good, is it like an LVT style?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Karndean is a brand, obviously, but LVT is the sort of flooring type.
Yes.
And we use it in all of our, whether it's HMOs or new builds, we've used it quite a lot.
I've just put it down in my bungalow.
Oh, have you? Yeah.
So, I feel a bit like Sarah Beanie or...
Homes Under the Hammer.
That's it, yeah. But, do you want to show us around?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So one of the biggest upgrades I made was the staircase, because originally it was going to be spindles, just like wood. And then I upgraded it to the glass, just because I feel, because it's all open plan, you look straight at that when you walk in.
Yeah. This is the main bedroom?
Yeah, the main bedroom's in here, yeah. It's... like I say, it's pretty sparse, and I haven't got any light bulbs in yet. That's on my to-do list. But I've just furnished it and sort of just tried to make it look fairly presentable for today.
That looks great. I like the sash windows.
Yeah. So they were they're all PVC, so they are plastic windows, but they're made to look obviously like timber sashes.
Yes.
And hopefully they should last a long time, longer than timber.
Sounds expensive.
Yeah, it wasn't actually.
Is it?
No. Well, I mean, I think I spent a lot of time planning this build, so I spent a lot of time going around to different manufacturers and getting the price right. But the windows, I think it's 9 windows in total. There's a set of sliding doors, and the front door cost me just over £8,000. But yeah, it is a nice spacious room. I've still got to get some more furniture and stuff
huge.
in here. But yeah, it's just, I think the height of the ceilings and stuff really helps in this house.
Yeah, and I think the furniture, the way you purchase this is so perfect for an Airbnb style rental, isn't it? So,
yeah, that's it. It's sort of making it homely, but also clean and modern. I think I've started to build a bit of a style and how I like to furnish things in terms of the plants and the shelves and all this kind of stuff is in most of our Airbnbs, and people seem to like it. So
yeah, because you've got a couple in Brighton.
Yeah, a couple of Airbnbs, but we're thinking of obviously Airbnb in this one, but I don't know if it's going to be quite as successful because Brighton just attracts so much like international tourism, you know, whereas Worthing isn't quite on the map like that yet. So
it's getting there.
Yeah.
So
cool. Shall I show you the?
Yeah, on to the next.
Front?
Yeah.
So we basically got, it is a 2-bedroom house, but obviously this is like the master, bigger bedroom, and then the bedroom behind is a bit smaller. The windows in this room just make all the difference, don't they? Because it's 3 and they're massive windows. But yeah, it's certainly big enough for another double room.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, basically just a nice, bright, modern bathroom. So there wasn't loads of space to play with, so I couldn't put in any like fancy roll top bath or anything like that. But yeah, it's basically just nice and clean, and like I say, all the fittings and stuff I put in Myra shower fittings because they're very easy to maintain if anything goes wrong with them and stuff like that. So
I really like the tiles halfway up.
Yeah.
Again, easy to clean.
Yeah.
You know, maintenance wise is great as well.
Yeah, and again, I went for sort of like, I wanted to make it look quite high end, or as high end as I could, but it's all really budget stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I got all of the bathroom stuff from Victorian Plumbing, which is just like an online bathroom shop.
I know it.
And then I went for branded on the showers, just because they're something which, you know, you want to buy something decent so it doesn't break in a year.
Yeah. Where did you go for things like tiles?
Tiles, I went to Tops Tiles, I think. Yeah, so it's just local stuff. And like I can't remember. I think our budget for the bathrooms was, I think it was 4,000 or 5,000, and that was for this one. And we got a ground floor WC.
Yes.
So that's all of the tiles, all of the, you know, everything basically.
It's good. Back downstairs and we'll talk numbers. Cool. Yeah, we'll just hit straight into it when you're ready.
Yeah.
Are we rolling?
We're rolling, yeah.
Oh, cool, nice. I thought as we've walked around already, if we just hit straight into the numbers. Now, you've already mentioned to me this is a little bit different from some projects because obviously you already have the land because Harley owns the building next door, which you purchased quite a while back.
Yeah, I purchased it, I think 2016, so a few years back.
As a HMO.
Yes.
And you did a full refurb on that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's how many bedrooms?
That one, when we bought it, it was 14 bedrooms, but we made it 13 because a couple of them were really small. So it was like a really old school HMO. I think it was just about like compliant when we bought it, and then we spent quite a large sum of money sort of refurbishing it all inside and out. And then this bit of land where this house is now was just like an old brick built garage, and then like a very shabby chic lean-to on the back of the HMO. So we always had an idea that it would possibly be, we could build on it, and then went for planning and eventually got it. So
how long does the planning roughly take?
So I think overall it took us probably about 4 or 5 months to get planning.
Fine. Okay. And then the build cost?
The build cost, we budgeted at 140,
yeah.
And then we did have a contingency of about 10 grand,
yeah.
And it ended up costing, I think, just over 150, maybe 153 or something like that, which, to be honest, is pretty good in today's standards, because obviously all the costs of materials and that have gone up a lot.
Yeah.
But I think, I might be slightly wrong, but I think we're looking at about 150, 160 pound a square foot, which is like what standard new build cost in south east of England is usually, people say it's a ballpark about 160 pound a square foot, and that is what this has cost to build. So it's just it's good to get a real world example of that 100%. Estimate being correct.
And obviously, so you paid just over 150, and I know the initial idea, which we'll come on to, was to sell it, but now you're going to keep it and do it to holiday let, which I think is a really smart move given the demand for holiday lets right now. Will you be refinancing it then?
Yeah, the plan is to refinance it, just fix it for, I think we're going for a 10-year fix actually on this when we refinance it, and then and then just try and run it on Airbnb, see how it goes. If that doesn't go how we want it, then we might try just putting on a 6-month AST, 6-month rental in the winter, 6 months Airbnb in the summer.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. So, do you mind me asking what you think you'll refinance it at?
What value?
Yeah, the value.
Worthing's gone up a lot, I think, in the last year or so, because people are trying to get out of the city and go for more gardens and more space.
Yeah.
And, we're basing the value of the refinance on 400,000, but we think if you actually put it on the market right now, because of how hysteric the market is, I think it could be a bit more, but
like 425 or something.
Yeah, possibly.
For anyone who doesn't know the area, Brighton is the attraction. It's where, you know, the market is really booming, but then all the parts around Brighton, much like it does in London, all the areas around it have just come up in value as well, haven't they? And Worthing's not too far from Brighton, so the prices have skyrocketed as people move out of the city centre. Great refinance price. Obviously, it's hard to talk complete overview numbers because normally there'd be like a land purchase cost, and then or you know, you might have bought it with planning, and then you could work out the build cost of this. But regardless of all of that, it's a really good use of space, because you had the building, you could have just left this space, right? And now you've managed to turn it into something incredible. What was the main reason behind not selling it and keeping it just as for cash flow purposes? Or
Well, yeah, to be honest, I've been looking at opportunities quite a lot over the last 18 months, like since COVID started really. And I think, to be honest, there's been such a boom in the property market, it's hard to know what else to go and buy. So we were thinking we could sell this and then go and find another project. But I honestly haven't found that many like flips and opportunities that stack up for me in this area. So with that in mind, we sort of thought, well, if we haven't got anything we want to immediately spend the money on and go and buy next, then we may as well just refinance it and keep it. And obviously the interest rates are very low at the moment, so it's kind of like a bit of a no-brainer at the moment. If we think we can do well on Airbnb and sort of milk the asset like that, then we just decided to do that instead of sell it.
Interesting, and as you said, lock in a 10-year deal at a good interest rate. It's a good idea.
That is one of the risks, and I do think my view at the moment is that a lot of people are kind of jumping in with the low interest rates, and they don't always stress test what it might be in 5 years' time. And then, you know, I think a lot of people can make money out of property when the interest rate is like the buy-to-let mortgage product is 2% or 2.5%, but if it's 5%, you still do the same. So that's why I wanted to fix it for 10 years, basically.
That's interesting. And then, for a bit of context for anyone, you know, Harley, you've got, you know, other properties, you do other strategies, not just new builds. You've got HMOs, you've got, you know, single lets. Do you have single? You do have single lets? And as well as service accommodation units in Brighton that you own. If you were starting again, I know that you've got quite, you know, strong views on certain strategies. Would you go down the route of new builds, or would you think buy-to-lets? Where would you start?
I think starting from today is obviously very different. You know, the market and the whole world has changed so much. I think there is a good opportunity to start now because the interest rates are low, and because just because it is more affordable to take on buy-to-let mortgages. But I just think with development, you're hedging against the biggest risk, which is obviously a market crash or a market correction. If any development is just a principle, is obviously you're adding value to, you're buying something, you're adding value to it, and then you're either keeping it or selling it, which just fundamentally is de-risking your whole investment. If you're buying something which is already done up and maybe paying top market value for it, then if the market does correct or something goes wrong or interest rates go up, you've got less room for error. So I just think if you can buy things which you can add value to, it's always a good idea. And obviously new builds, you kind of like with this land, we had the land without planning, then we got planning, that added value, and then we built it out, that added value. So now if there was a market correction, you've got loads of equity to lose before you force seller or whatever.
I haven't heard it put in that way before, because obviously coming strictly really from a buy-to-let background, all you hear is, you know, buy at the right price, hold long term, you'll be fine. But it's a very different spin on it, but it definitely makes sense. You know, as you say, there's at different stages in this process, you're adding value to the equation, so then you've got more buffer, you know, room sort of buffered and built in. So,
but I think even with normal, just like a standard buy-to-let, there are opportunities to add value, aren't there, by just doing a light refurb or heavy duty kind of like extension or a loft conversion or something like that. I think if there's ever an opportunity to do that, I think it's good to do, because you're kind of, instead of paying for someone else's profit by buying something that's all done, you're kind of putting the work in and adding value yourself.
Yeah, definitely. So, no, I think I really wanted to cover the figures, everything about this house. I think it's an awesome project. I could genuinely sit and probably do like a whole hour podcast about your investment journey, which I think at some point we should do. Yeah. But if you've got any questions, put them in the comments below, and then Harley can always keep an eye out and answer any of them.
Yeah, sure.
So,
absolutely.
Cool. Right,
thanks very much.
Cheers. Right. we'll head out. Everything. So yeah, catch up with Harley, just wrapped up. I thought it was really interesting just to show something completely that I don't ever show on this channel, which is new builds. And although Harley's, you know, young like myself, he's got a lot of experience. He's literally done property since he was 17 years old, so he's definitely someone that I can learn from and that I hope that you guys can learn from as well. He has a different take on buy-to-lets as well. He actually quite likes the strategy of flips, new builds, because there's a clear exit. And again, I found it quite interesting to hear about what he had to say on that as well. I hope the video was useful, and until next week, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you then.